So anyway, gratitude is a perspective which we have on life. So if we have the bottle and it's got half water in it, then you can describe it in two ways. You can say that the bottle is half full, and be like, yeah, I've got half a bottle of water. Or you can say it's half empty, which is kind of, oh no, we're missing something. And this perspective we can apply everywhere, just like we apply it to this gathering. Alhamdulillah, we've got a chance to be in this gathering, to be able to try and connect to Allah, to be in a group of other people who are also trying to connect to Allah. We're able to be in a masjid where we have the environment of the angels. We have a lot of things going for us at the moment if we're on a mission to connect to Allah. So that's something to be really happy about. So if you apply the perspective of thinking about what you have, when you look at the bottle and it's half full and you say, yes, it's half full, I've got half a bottle of water, we're focusing on what we have. This is essentially gratitude. If we go back to our sheets and we look at the sections which Allah talks about in Surah Abasa, 3 out of the 5 are basically bringing attention to things which are quite obvious. But Allah brings our focus towards them because we often forget how lucky we are to have those basic things within our life. So that's kind of the perspective that we have. Instead of thinking about what we don't have, we kind of live in a society which likes to focus on what we don't have. We generally like to be quite sad. So we try and figure out all the things which we don't have, and then we spend our whole life trying to get them. So I don't have a private jet, so I'm going to get a private jet. I don't have £1 million, let's get £1 million. Some of us are a bit more realistic, so we kind of, we say we start with £1,000, then we get to £10,000. And we carry on, we spend our whole life making our happiness go further and further away from us. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, this is the hadith on the back. So we've got the back of the handout. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لو أن لابن آدم واديا من ذهب أحب أن يكون له واديان ولن يملأ فاه إلا التراب ويتوب الله على من تاب. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he mentioned that if a human being, if the son of Adam alayhi salam, this is kind of the Prophet describing this syndrome that some people have of chasing something which you don't have, and then getting that thing which you thought you wanted, and then you chase the next thing, and you just spend your whole life chasing. Again, if we come back to our half bottle of water example, it's focusing on what you don't have and chasing it, and forgetting about all of the things that you do have. The Prophet ﷺ says that even if a son of Adam had 2 valleys of gold, 2 valleys full of gold. What's a valley? Everyone knows what a valley is. There's some confusion last week. Sorry? Valley. It's the dip between 2 mountains. Yes, when you have a mountain, the big dip in the middle of a mountain is quite big, basically. So a valley of gold, the Prophet ﷺ says, if somebody had even 2 valleys of gold, a whole valley of gold, he would still want to have a second one. He wouldn't just be happy with the one. And we notice the Prophet ﷺ saying this person, he wouldn't even notice how lucky he is to have a valley of gold. It doesn't just apply to that. This is a syndrome. If a person is a person who looks to what they don't have and says, I'm only going to be happy if I have the things which I don't have, and then spends his whole life doing that, and even when you get a few things, we hardly focus on them. This is why, for example, in this surah we have a lot of focus on things we all have in our lives, so that we don't become prey to the syndrome of focusing on what we don't have and completely ignoring what we do have. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, وَلَنْ يَمْلَأْ فَاهُ إِلَّا التُّرَابِ. The Prophet ﷺ says that in reality, a person who decides that his happiness is beyond him and he wants something else, he will die in that state. The only thing which will make him content is the soil of the grave. So if he dies and he goes into the grave, then he'll stop chasing things. Then he might have some happiness. So this is the perspective. The Prophet ﷺ, again, he describes it as kind of a syndrome which people have. They're just wanting stuff which you don't already have. And the Prophet ﷺ, he's just bringing attention back to the values that we all have. This applies to every single person. We generally live in a society which gives us an imbalance. We don't have a proper balance of what we do. We don't focus in a balanced way on what we do have to be grateful for. We focus so much more on what we want and what we don't have. And this obviously leads to this disease called depression. So then we get really sad that we don't have all these things which we want. But gratitude is the exact action of bringing focus and attention and consciousness towards the stuff which you do have. That's the act of gratitude. And we realize what we have. We realize how lucky we realize how lucky we actually are. So that's the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he kind of describes the problems that we kind of have. And gratitude is basically noticing what's kind of in our values, what kind of values we're sitting on, what things we have in our life which we've kind of been completely unaware of. So that's what gratitude does for us.